Yes, Queen. Yes, Queen.
Hi, Coach Dina.
Hi. Hi,
How are
Ashley.
you?
I'm good, my little master sous chef. It's amazing watching you cook. I love it.
Girl. It's so
But
much fun
I,
and so ridiculous. And y'all don't know what
you're
we're
a
talking about.
hoot.
Look at some of those Life in the New Normal
Cooking
Cafe
segments.
cooking segments. They are ridiculous, but so fun. So
So
fun.
fun.
First of all, hello to our new listeners. Are you ready for this?
Oh my God, I'm so excited. Tell
In
me.
Australia, hello. Germany, hello.
Oh,
South
sprechen Sie
Africa,
Deutsch.
hello. Italy, hello. And the
Kawaii.
Netherlands.
I
Welcome,
love
y'all. We
that.
see y'all. We appreciate y'all. Thank you
Yay.
so much for being here.
Thank
I'm Ashley
you.
Heidrich. This is our fabulous life coach, Dina
Dina Padawan.
Padawano. And we're
Yay.
so excited y'all are here. So let's get right into it because, girl, this has
Okay.
been, I think we have a lot of ground to cover today, and we'll do it as quickly
Okay.
as possible, y'all. But I don't even know how to start this. It's like, have you ever noticed how when you're feeling, you might not even be feeling it, your physical pain, maybe, or your emotional pain, you'll sit with for a while, and then all of a sudden you'll get sick. Or maybe it's subconscious and you don't even realize you're carrying things around and things start popping up on your body. And, most of us think, oh, well, we go to the doctor, we get a pill, we do whatever he or she tells us to do, and that's just sort of how life works. Since I've been on this journey, Dina, and I don't know about you, I have learned that some of this also can come from other things if we're talking about the whole mind, body, spirit connection, right? So this hence why
Mm-hmm.
it's so important to do this work, so important to take care of yourself as a whole, not just go for a walk every day, although that's important. You've got to take care
Yes.
of your mind. You've got to take care of what your thoughts do to yourself. You've got to clean up your side of the street in order to carry yourself around in a healthy way. Um, as part of it. The rest, I don't know. I'm
Yes.
sure there's a
And
lot
by
more
the
to it than I
way,
know, but
I
please,
used to be
please.
very resentful of this idea.
Right.
And I
Yeah.
used to be very resentful, especially when I first started getting sick, that doctors and things would sort of put the onus on me. And I would be very resentful of like, what, you're blaming me for this? Like, what? Like, how dare you? Right. And so it's not until 20 years later of dealing with everything that now I finally get the concept.
And I want to say to that point, because you're right, and I have felt the same way, that let's
Mm-hmm.
don't say blame because that's just not fair, because I think people just don't know, right? I think that we're
For
all
sure.
learning, and this is new information for me, certainly within the last few years. And, we're picking up where we are and we're doing the best we can.
Yes,
So,
totally.
with this information, I know that girl, I went back and listened to last week's episode this
Uh-huh.
morning.
Mm-hmm.
And if y'all haven't listened to it, please listen to it. But had I listened to your advice, I probably wouldn't be sick right now
Oh no, what
because
was my advice?
I wouldn't have exploded it to people
Oh boy.
because I was all pissed off and hormonal and emotional. And yes, those are kind of excuses, but girl, those hormones are no joke. It's like Katy Perry. I'm hot, then I'm cold. I'm yes, then I'm no. It's like,
Right.
I cannot fucking control that shit once a month.
Yeah.
I'm trying. I need to start putting it on a
And
calendar and
who
then
do
being aware.
you go off on? The nearest person or the person who triggers you the most in those moments?
The people who are triggering me and I think they deserved the things I said to them? Yes. Do I think they deserved it in the way I said it to them? No, probably not. But
So what was
man,
the advice?
your advice was to go inside and ask yourself questions about where this is coming from. Breathe,
Yeah.
take a step
Yeah.
back, don't take it so personally. And, when
Yeah.
we're in those moments having these conversations, my head is somewhere else. I'm not thinking about what's about to come down the pipe. And then all of a sudden, like I said, it catches you off guard every single freaking time. And there you are again. There I am again.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you sit with that for a few days. People aren't going to behave the way you want them to behave. They're not going to step up in the way you hope they do, maybe. And then you have to sit with that and you have to reevaluate things. And I got sick. So,
And it's also the reevaluating of if you find yourself continually having the same frustrations with the same
Yes.
people, it's like, then that's where, again, we have to do the work and go,
Right.
that's a you problem, not a they
Right.
problem, because they've been doing the same thing all along. You're the one that's changed, right? And so you're different, and then you're expecting them to rise to the occasion to meet you where you're at.
Right.
That's where we all have to be very understanding about each other's journey. And listen, I know I have the luxury of having more time than other people, but the thing that frustrates me the most, and this isn't towards you, Ashley, or anyone else, just in general, people look at me and they go, oh, she's got no care in the world. Like, she looks like she's just doing great, whatever. The reason why I can't be as busy as most is because of chronic pain, my ailments, not knowing how I'm going to feel every day, dealing with, if I overdid it one day, I'm going to pay for it the next day.
Right.
Right. And so I keep that stuff private just because I don't want it out there and then continuing and continuing and continuing. I'm still trying to navigate all of this pain and where I'm at and all of these things. You know what I mean?
I do, and I do know that you just got yet another diagnosis that you're
Mm.
dealing with right now, and I'm so sorry. And you
Thank
know,
you.
I you had mentioned that you want to talk about that a little bit today, and I would
Hmm.
love for you to share that, share how I can support you on that, or
Thank you. I appreciate
any
that. I'm just gonna,
what you're gonna do to navigate, and
okay. Well, I'll just give a really quick rundown, quick in the Dina way, quick. Meaning as in my 20s, I had started getting horrible migraines. And when I say horrible, debilitating. I could walk and I would literally vomit in a trash can. And that was just normal for me, right? That lasted 8 years. Eight
really,
years, I did not go without a migraine.
mm-mm,
And when I say I completely um, lost everything I had been working towards, and friendships and relationships and so many things. And then people thought I was being dramatic or it wasn't real. And only the people who really knew me understood it. I spent over 65,000 in copays with insurance trying to get answers, right?
that's a whole
And
other problem. Not for
totally.
this
And
episode,
I
but
used to carry a Ziploc baggie around filled with prescription medicine that they would give me. And I mean, there were so many pills. And one day I said, you know what? I got to get off all these meds
mm-hmm,
and I got to try to start all over again. So I went into Exodus in Culver City, and it's just sort of for them to detox me off of the meds, because all those meds I was on have gnarly side effects when you try to get off. And so I
sure,
did it where a doctor was, looking over me. And then I had finally went to an allergist. Now, before this, I had never had allergies to food or anything in my life. This
interesting,
doctor was so kind to me. He prayed with me. He was in Santa Monica, and his nurse, and he said, I swear you're so young. This makes me so sad. I'm going to do whatever I can to help you.
yeah,
With these tests, I found out that I had allergies to coffee, beer, mushrooms, like all these things that I had never had issues with. And thankfully, he had taught me how to do the elimination, where I
mm-hmm,
just fasted for 3 days and then I would slowly reintroduce stuff.
mm-hmm,
So I have 28 food allergies since I'm 28. Then the migraine stopped. And then after the migraines started neck pain and
mm-hmm,
then back pain.
mm-hmm,
And then the I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. Before I moved to Italy in the States, I was told I didn't need back surgery. It was all in my head. They started referring Dr. Sarno's books, all these books. And that was way before we're at where we are now. And I was like, I'm going to read a book. I could barely walk. Go fuck yourself. Right.
right,
And I was pissed at that too. You pay $400. You wait 4 hours in a waiting room. The guy gives you 15 minutes and he tells you to go get
right,
a little neck pillow and heat it up in your microwave and read a book. And
right,
you're just like, wait, what? And it is beyond frustrating. I moved to
mm-hmm,
Italy. I get surgery, and the surgeon told my husband at the time that my back was so bad it was like a 7-year-old construction worker, and I had such bad disc degeneration. I was bone to bone, no fluid in the spine, right?
mm-hmm,
And then you're like, wait, so those surgeons told me I didn't need it and to read a
mm,
book. So then you're kind of frustrated going,
right,
well, how is a book going to fix this? Or how? So then you're frustrated, right? And then in the
sure,
interim, I had massive swelling, lots of things going on. So every year I go get these Groupon blood tests, right? And
Those are
I'm the one who
great.
found, yes,
Highly
I'm the one,
recommend. They're cheap, y'all. Especially if you don't have
yes,
health insurance. Go to Groupon to get your blood work done.
totally. And I'm the one who found the rheumatoid arthritis. And then after that, I didn't know that I had something called spondyloarthritis, which they found when they had done the initial surgery. But because
Mm-hmm.
my Italian wasn't so great and I didn't look over the paperwork,
Mm-hmm.
so now we're at three autoimmunes.
Mm-hmm.
Then 2 years ago, I got diagnosed with gout. And
Mm-hmm.
then recently, I just got diagnosed with sarcoidosis, which I started getting lesions on my legs. Now, here's the frustrating part. I'm the healthiest I've ever been. I'm eating the cleanest I've ever eaten. I'm meditating. I'm exercising consistently. I'm not drinking alcohol. I have a plant based diet. I'm eating gluten free. So I had said to my therapist, listen, I think at this point, I am now, it's not that I am surrendering, but
Yeah.
I'm ready. I'm desperate enough.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also willing enough to see my part in it in the sense of stored trauma, right? Because I was like, look,
Right.
there's no way on God's green earth that I'm doing all these things and now lesions are popping up on my legs. Like,
Now it's
this
physically
is
manifesting
not
on your skin too,
for
coming out.
sure.
Yeah.
And I
Huh.
was expecting him to, because I've been with him 27 years, right?
Right.
I
You
was
go to
expecting
therapy
him
as
to,
well. Like you're
yes.
doing work.
And I was expecting him to say no, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, well, he goes, I think this is a really good idea. And I bet you thought I was going to say no, didn't you? And I go, what?
Okay.
Like, I
Well,
was like, you motherfucker. And I was like, wait, what? Like, I still have more work to
right.
do. And he goes, and I have a few books for you to read. And I was like,
Oh my
oh,
God.
no, you
Well, this is,
didn't.
I mean, because I know you, and I know how much you talk to
Mm-hmm.
him and he's amazing and how
Yes.
much work you do. I'm like, wow,
Mm-hmm.
girl. So
So
you about to dive into some deep,
deep stuff. So here's what I'm thinking.
okay,
And this is
tell
for
me.
anyone else who intuitively, and I just feel like this speaks to so many people out there who feel so unheard from their practitioners
Yeah,
and, all of that is it is hard to grasp. And I'm not saying anyone's ailments are from their trauma, right? But
right.
when I
We don't know.
say I have tried so many things.
Right.
I have spent and invested so much money. And I have, right. So with this latest diagnosis, is the first time ever, thanks to you and other people, I'm deciding to handle it naturally. And so I went in there yesterday ready to fight to tell the lady because to treat this they'll give you methotrexate injections and all of that, and I did that with the
Uh-huh.
RA.
Uh-huh.
And the fact is that my body rejected it and I started getting a distended stomach and all of these things. So I know a lot of us are trying so many things and we're like, I'm in pain, but it feels like invisible pain. This is the first time my pain has ever
Right.
been visible.
Right.
And thank
Ah.
God I'm vain enough because there's no way with these lesions. I was like, oh, hell no. All the other
Yeah.
stuff was invisible. You go
Yeah.
to get endoscopies, colonoscopies, everything. Nothing's wrong. Everything's fine. Blah, blah, blah. You know how frustrating it is when you get stool samples. You do all these things. No, everything's normal. And your stomach is to here and you're having horrible pains. Oh, and another thing with this sarcoidosis is it makes kidney stones, and
Right.
that I've been passing those and we all know, right? So I went to the
So
doctor and I said
painful.
to her, I
I'm
don't want to
sorry.
do, yeah, I don't, thank you. I don't want to do any medicine. And she said, well, we could try red light therapy. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, great. So I'm going to go Tuesday, thankfully for social medicine. It's free. I'll go for 4 hours and they'll put the red light on my lesions, right? And the only other thing that it says to do, and I'm just telling everyone, I'm not saying everyone hasn't tried a diet, but this is for me. I have never honestly specifically stuck to something specific that they were going to say because I'm like an impulsive, like I need results right away. And I realized that it didn't get this way overnight.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to, it's not going to go away overnight. So I'm like, okay, if I'm investing in myself, I know I've been avoiding the yoga mat, and I know that's because I've been afraid to sort of, I know emotionally once I start getting on the mat and I move around, a lot of stuff will be released, right?
Mm-hmm.
Trauma things. And I just sometimes it's hard to deal with emotional and physical at the same time. So I
Yeah,
usually choose one or the other.
I don't blame you.
And so, yeah, and this time I'm going to choose doing both. And you can do anything as long as it's temporary. So the only thing that I'm not doing with diet and things like that, and then mental, is I'm going to start yoga consistently. I'm going to try it for 75 days and no sugar. So
Right.
I
You know
got to give
what? I
myself
will
a
do it with
chance.
you if you want,
You will?
because, yeah, absolutely.
That would be
Because,
amazing.
I mean, look, I've developed allergies, and I know this is how it
Mm-hmm.
starts. You know, we start developing allergies to things. Um, I don't, I would love, and I've been just been curious about it for so long because I dated a girl years ago that had Lyme disease, and I watched her put her disease into remission naturally.
Oh, wow.
Just by, I mean, she ate so clean. It was like, I looked at it and I went, well, I'm never going to be able to do that. It was like a lot of
Yeah.
kale, you know, a lot of
Uh-huh.
fruit, a lot of just very straightforward, clean
Uh-huh.
eating. And but sugar is my weakness right now since I gave up alcohol. Of course, it's like
Yes.
chocolate. Damn, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Well, and I don't even eat that
Ugh!
much sugar.
I don't either, but
It's carbs that turn into sugar. So it's the
yes.
gluten-free crackers,
Pasta
it's the gluten-free
lentiki.
bread. Exacto, right? So it's all of that stuff. But I will tell people too is when I got this recent diagnosis, I had two choices. I could either go down the route of getting depressed and feeling bad
Yeah,
for myself,
yeah.
or I could feel like, look, girl, you've come this far and you're already not drinking. You're already eating plant-based. You're already doing all of these incredible things, exercising daily. And so if it's just temporary, let's
Hmm.
just try. And so if I can do it 75 days, I'm starting April 1st until the June
Oh my
15th.
God, that's quick. I
So
gotta
if
eat some
I can,
chocolate.
yeah, if I can start for 75 days and see where it takes me and finally allow it to give myself a chance. But I'm talking meditating, reading books, doing trauma work, whatever that's going to look like. And I'm excited and I'm nervous. I'm scared because releasing all of this weight, it was like, well, aren't I exposed enough? Well, didn't I like, okay, so all of the trauma, whatever, I had suppressed it so long with that 70 pounds I had gained, right? And all that stuff. And it's like, okay, I feel exposed and I feel whatever. And now why are these things popping up on my body? Right. And so that's where I'm at right now.
Well, and it's been a process, and you've done a lot of work to get your body to where it is right now. You know,
I'm
congratulations.
so
I'm so
proud of
proud of you.
myself.
Yeah, because
Thank
that
you.
I've watched you go through that transformation. That's
Mm-hmm.
amazing in itself. So now maybe, you know, you're in a place where you're ready for the next
Next
step, and
level.
it'll be so
Yeah.
cool to watch you
Yeah.
heal yourself, you know, and do
Thank
that.
you. And it's interesting being on this end of it
Hmm.
because before, when I was heavier, I was drinking, I used lots of great excuses of the alcohol helps the pain. Of course it did in momentarily,
Hmm.
right? But then I wasn't great the next day with inflammation and hungover. And that was just this vicious cycle.
Yeah.
Right. So now that I'm eating clean and I'm more healthy and I'm more, like it doesn't mean my pain went away. It just means that being less heavy gives you more energy, right?
Yeah,
And
totally.
so
Totally.
I feel like I don't want anyone to feel that we're saying everyone's stuff is trauma because sure, lots of like,
Right. No, I don't want to
okay,
say
I'll
that
give you
either.
for
What an
instance,
asshole.
and I'll give
I would
right, well,
never
and I'll
say
give
that
you
to
for
somebody.
instance is that, and I'm going to get really personal, and I'm just thinking this out loud, how it's working in my mind. You can't tell me that every time I have sex, I get a bladder infection. It's because my body.
Hmm.
It
Right.
has to be something that has to do with trauma,
Dirty penis.
history. Totally.
Girl. Like I said, reason number 5,365 why I'm a lesbian.
Right? Exactly.
Just
So,
kidding.
right. But do you see what I'm saying is in the sense is that clearly it's not psychosomatic, but it's got to be linked. it's got to be
I'm
linked
not
for
even going to
me.
go into that.
No, I'm talking about with sexual
100
issues and
things just
trauma.
went through my mind.
It's because you're a little pervert,
No,
teenage boy.
nope,
No,
no.
but but meaning is that because I had sexual trauma growing up and as a young adult, and then all of a sudden, not all of
Yes,
a sudden, but through a
yes,
period of time,
yes.
I gained 70 pounds. And then anytime someone goes to touch me or like whatever,
Right.
I get a bladder
Thank you
infection.
for clarifying. Yes, that's
Thank you.
powerful right there.
Right. And
And it
so,
makes sense, of course, because even though you're looking at somebody you're attracted to and you're wanting all that, your little Dina, who was, very
mm-hmm,
badly hurt and damaged
mm-hmm,
back in the day from that, is
mm-hmm.
rejecting it
Yes.
clearly.
And
So,
so I'm really trying to, it's not like I'm going to attach it to everything, but listen, okay, so I'll just make a rundown so that everyone just kind of, I'm not over exaggerating. 34 surgeries, now 5 autoimmunes, chronic pain, neuropathy, interstitial cystitis, thyroid disease. Before I had hyperthyroid, I had it radiated for a nodule that I had on my neck in my
oh my
20s,
God.
and then it ate my thyroid and not the nodule completely. So then I'm on thyroid medicine. The gout, right, is part of the autoimmune. So when I say that I have chronic ailments, and then we won't talk about the chronic pain, the machine I have in my back, I have a stabilizer cage in my
Mm-hmm,
back, and I
mm-hmm,
have a machine that is a stimulator for my back.
mm-hmm.
And so these are not, I'm not minimizing it, but
Yeah,
this is years and years and years of dealing with it, right?
yeah, yeah.
And so I sure as shit do go through my pity parties, and I do go through my times of that I feel bad for myself. And then I feel like every time it's time to go back to a doctor, I have to gear up and put my big girl panties on to battle, to hope that they're going to heal me or hear me. Or so then this time with this autoimmune, I think I was a little shocked, and I think you can recall is that this is the first time I've ever gotten an answer right away. So I got a
Yeah,
biopsy,
you
it
did
came
get a
out
diagnosis
positive,
pretty quickly, which was great because you knew
which
what you
was
were dealing
shocking,
with.
but I was ready for a battle. So then
Mm,
I
mm-hmm.
wasn't ready to go, oh, it's positive. Okay. And then it's like, now what? It's like, wait, what? Wait, what the fuck? Like, wait,
Right.
all I have to do it. Like, and so I was relieved, but I'm also exhausted. And I'm
Yeah.
also thinking,
I'm
like,
sorry.
it sucks to thank you. It sucks to think, oh, I want a partner, but who's going to want to deal with all of this stuff? Or when you're in friendships, new friendships, and people
Mm-hmm.
that don't know
Mm-hmm.
you, you don't want to explain all this stuff to somebody, and you don't want to have to.
Gotcha.
So people who sometimes are in my situation tend to isolate.
Right.
And
Makes
and
sense.
so I'm somebody who feels a lot. And I know that now that I'm learning about the neurodivergence and everything, is that I take on a lot of stuff for people.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering how much of this stuff is mine and how
Right.
much of this stuff did I take on for other people.
Yeah. Me too. I'm
That's where
curious
I'm
about
at.
that for you
I'm
because
ready.
I
Thank you.
know that just from having known you the past several years and talking to you that when you have a really tough reading or if it's
Mm-hmm.
somebody that you're emotionally connected to and feel take on what
Yes.
they're feeling through your intuitive gift, that it
Mm-hmm.
can manifest in your back and it can take you down for a while and you have to
Yes.
reset for a while. So
And
I'm
also too
curious to
with
know that
with,
too.
yeah, and also with the news, that same
Oh,
thing
yeah.
happens to me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Or even if it's like a heaviness that it's like in the air, I just have to gauge it, right? And
There's a
it's
lot of
not that
that.
yeah, and I think that a lot of us are feeling like we want to isolate, we want to hide from it, our stuff is flared up, whatever it may be, right? And I'm tired of hiding, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
tired of having to uh I mean, I have to think, like, if someone makes plan with me in a week from now, I don't know how I'm going to be feeling. I don't
Right,
know if I'm going to be okay. I
right.
will plan it for sure, but I know that there are people in worse situations. There are times when I can't even move or walk, or my whole body feels like it's crawling and there's pain, or I feel like
Right.
I've been beat up overnight, and I'm thinking, was that from conversations the day before, or when people, they come at you and they're like, oh, like someone I used to know used to go, oh, how do you have all these things wrong with you? Blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, what, do you think I want this? Do you think like I want this for attention? Like, do you think,
Right.
and I've been accused of that before, of wanting attention or, and it's just, and then people wonder why we don't share,
Gosh, Dina, you're so selfish. What an asshole.
right? Such a bitch.
Mm-mm.
I can't
I'm
wait to find
sorry.
another recipe to cook.
Jerk.
Payback is a
Come on.
bitch.
My recipe's going to be better than yours. Just kidding. I love you.
Okay.
I'm sorry that you're going
It's
through all of
okay.
that. And it's
No,
like
thank you.
that stuff shows up in so many different ways too. I mean, that you've got I'm so excited that you're doing this because I want to
Hmm.
see what happens. And that's part of
Hmm.
why I'd love to do it with you, not only just to support you. I know you've got a friend doing it with you
Thank you.
too, but I'm happy
Yeah.
to do it as well. So you
Oh
feel
no,
like
she boned out.
she
And
did?
she said, no, my yeah, my one friend, she said, "Oh no, I'm Italian. How can I not eat the
Oh, how funny.
pasta?" And I
Okay.
was like,
All
"Come
right.
on, you little baby." And
Well, all
so
right.
that's fine.
They got to be ready.
Listen,
I'll do
at
it with
this
you.
point, yes, and we will keep people posted because I think it's really important for, and I'm going to also preface this. I am so grateful every day that I live in Italy right now because I wouldn't be able to afford to eat the way I'm eating right now if I was in the States.
Girl, don't even get me
Italy makes
started
it
on
such so
fucking
affordable for
healthcare and
clean eating.
yeah. So,
Yes.
if I learn any tricks, I'll share them here as well with being in the States
Hmm.
right now and that sort of thing. But forgot what I was going to say. Oh, I'm happy to do it with you. And I would also invite any of our listeners who, I find it so helpful to have you as an accountability partner, just even in doing our
Hmm.
steps, even if we don't hit them every day, we try. And
Hmm.
it's you looking at yourself and seeing whether or not
Exactly.
you're keeping yourself accountable and showing up for yourself every day. So
Yes.
I'll tell you, it's been a good mental practice for me, and I think this is going to push us to the next level. And if anybody wants to join us on that, please feel free, and you can just leave us a little comment. And we can set up some sort of system, where we check in with everybody every day, even if
Yeah.
you want to do that. But we'll see if there's any interest. If y'all are
Yeah.
terrified and just want to watch first, then, you know, fine. But
Uh-huh.
if you do, then that's cool. Um, and also just from my standpoint too, I'm starting to see a couple little things happen. Like all of a sudden, a little skin cancer has shown up back here on my back, which I've sort of been
Oh.
ignoring the last month, and I know I need to go get that taken care of. But, moving here to the South, I was in California for so long, and I did eat pretty fairly clean there. It was so easy to do because the restaurants
Uh-huh.
all have gluten-free options and vegan and
Hmm.
even if I was eating fish or whatever, it was just, I don't know, it was cleaner eating. So I moved to the South and now I'm eating a little bit differently. I'm still trying to avoid those things, but in some situations, it's like, it's
Hmm.
what's there. And so I've got to get a little bit stronger about that. So I am curious as well to see if I can, and I have Hashimoto's thyroiditis. I have an
Ah,
autoimmune. So
yes.
that means I have nodules on my thyroid too. So I would love to see if I can put any of this stuff into remission naturally. And the reason I feel that we can do that and I believe in it is because of watching my ex go through that. I mean, y'all,
Oh,
when I
yeah.
tell you that she had Lyme disease, I'm not talking about these people who are on antibiotics and are walking around and navigating life as usual. I'm talking about she did it naturally, which means she was seizing every day, 3 or 4 times a day for an hour at a time. I mean, debilitated. She lost so much weight. She was down to like 90 pounds. It was awful. We thought she could die at one point. And I thought, oh my God, this girl's going to die in my house and it's going to be awful.
Hmm.
Um, but,
That's scary. And
she,
it's
she
scary to
took it
watch someone
on.
because you feel helpless.
Awful. I mean,
Hmm.
terrifying.
Hmm.
But I watched her, man, and she stuck to her guns and she refused those antibiotics and she stuck to the clean eating and she stuck to the meditating. And then we started arguing. She, went somewhere else to heal in
Oh.
peace. It was the right thing to do for both of us. It was just too
Uh-huh.
much all the way around, and she needed to go to where she had more support. But it makes a difference. The meditating, the being, feeling like you're in peace, doing all the right things to support your body. So I'm
So did
excited.
her, let me ask you, did
Sure.
her ailments trigger you because you thought maybe you could help more or do more, or maybe she wasn't doing certain things that you wanted to contribute, or did you just feel helpless?
Oh, you mean as to why we broke up?
No, no, I'm just asking in general as somebody involved with somebody who has something chronic. Because I think a lot of people out there have a partner. And for me, in my experience, when I was married, my partner was super supportive some of the
Yeah.
times and not all of the times.
I
You know what
think
I mean?
I was so supportive of her. I quit my job to
Oh,
support her.
wow. That's
Yeah, I mean,
amazing.
I took her to every appointment. I helped her through, we had ozone therapy. We had a machine in our
Oh,
house
that's
that she did every
amazing.
day.
Hmm.
I sat with her through every seizure. I was there 100%,
That's amazing.
but we weren't, right before this had started happening, we were already starting our disconnect. And so she
Uh,
wasn't, I didn't feel like I didn't feel appreciated. I didn't feel like, A, for the short amount of period of time that we had been dating, it was mine to take on to that level because
hmm.
I became her full time caregiver very fast, within a matter of a couple of months. I'm talking real fast.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, and we're not getting along, and this is more than I feel is mine to
Hmm.
take on.
Yeah.
But I was happy to try to be there for her and help get her to the next level. And I was happy to be one of the people that supported her. I just couldn't be the only person. And she wasn't reaching out to other people for help. So it was overwhelming. It was too much
And
for
I think that's
one
very
person.
helpful for other people to listen to,
Okay.
because I
You need
think
a
what
system.
happens
It's a
is,
lot.
well, yeah, and I think what happens is I'm sure because my ex was the only person I had here,
Uh
right? And
huh.
so
Uh huh.
I'm sure a lot fell on him, and
Uh
I'm
huh.
sure it was overwhelming. And then there were times where one time I was being rolled into a surgery and he looked at me and he goes, I don't know how you do it. And I'm on the bed being rolled in. And I'm like, I don't have a choice. And he
Right.
goes, well, actually, you do. And I go, well,
What did he
actually,
mean
I
by
don't.
that?
If I want to be out of pain,
Mm-hmm.
because he's so afraid of surgery, right? And
Mm.
so if I want to be out of pain, I at least have to try and have hope.
Right. Right.
And so,
Sure.
and then therefore, I don't come from the mentality of I'm just going to give up hope and crawl into a ball. I mean, I've gone through spurts of time
No, I'm
like
so
that,
proud
but
of you.
if
Yeah.
somebody's going to give me an opportunity or something that may help me, I'm for sure going to try it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think that, and then there was a period of time where I think it just became too overwhelming that he just stopped coming to surgeries altogether,
Right.
and I had to take it on myself, which that's fine for me because
But
I
that's a more
before
compounding your emotional trauma again, that the only person
exactly
in your life that's there for
abandonment.
you is you.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And there
That's
you go.
hard.
So see, and that and see, and it brings up tears, and then you
Mm-hmm.
go, you know what? That's probably something. And that's probably
Yeah.
what we're triggering at, right? Because
Yeah.
if I'm doing the inner child work,
Yeah.
and if I'm doing all of this work, yeah, it is hard to justify for people why they don't show up, right? And it is hard to
Amen. Yeah.
constantly, yes, to constantly go, well, that's because they have to work, or that. And I know that all of that is valid. And I also know that other people don't have the luxury of time because they have children and they have work and they work two jobs and they're in physical pain, right? So they don't even have the time to think about, now I'm going to eat clean, I'm going to do all these things, I'm going to, and I'm saying from experience, because when all this started, I was waiting on tables, right? And so for me, the idea of that eating clean was going to change everything, go F yourself. Like,
Right.
the idea was so absurd to me
Mm-hmm.
that I was going to prove them wrong and keep taking more pills and seeing more doctors and paying more money. Because how dare you recommend a book and tell me this is generational trauma or childhood trauma? Like, I remember before I left the States, when I went to my last gynecologist appointment, they had you fill out a questionnaire and they started asking you, were you abused as a child or were this, and I
Oh,
was
wow.
like,
That's none of
wait,
your
what? And then
business.
I think, right, well, and then your business, but now they're
But it
finally
matters.
getting it.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
And
and it
so,
is a balance of finding out what works from your doctor and what,
mhm,
and being brave enough maybe to follow, and especially if you need surgery and it's to that level. Like, I'm proud of you for doing those
thank
things,
you.
because what do you
Yeah,
do, and
I
you have to be
know.
brave to do that stuff.
Totally.
But it
And
makes sense, right? That they say that, oh God, I heard the best quote the other day and now I'm trying to remember it, but it's something to the effect of your genetics lay the foundation for these things to occur, but how you live your life and the environment and the things you put
oh
in
yeah.
body create the conditions for them to manifest. So
Yeah.
if you have a history of things in your family medically, and you know that, you can choose to go this way or that way with it. You can choose to continue to eat all the same things and then, see what happens, and the
Mhm.
trauma and all that stuff that comes under it, that we push down and we push down and we pretend like doesn't matter. It matters, because
Mhm.
it manifests. Or maybe, if there's lies that you've held in and you feel like, oh shit, I've been holding this from somebody that I care about and I really need to get this
Mhm.
off my chest, or whatever it is. I mean, all of that stuff matters. They're finding out. It all comes into
For
play together.
sure. Which is, if you think about it, it's not scary, but it is scary in the sense is I would like for anyone to think the people that they know who deal with chronic issues like I do, are they people pleasers? Because I
Mm.
don't
Oh
think you
God.
find a lot of people who might have
Yes.
narcissism traits or other traits or whatever. I think a lot of it is the
Damn.
empathetic, or right, or the empathetic person, the intuitive person, the people pleasing person, like all of the above or whatever,
God, you're
because
right.
it's usually people who take on stuff so that other people
You are
they don't
right.
have to deal with that. You know
Or
what I
at
mean?
least I'm just thinking of people that yeah, yes, yes. Fuck.
Hmm. And so you and I
Ugh.
deal with our childhood stuff very different,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so I went around and I just kept trying to please everyone and make everyone happy so that it would make things stop,
Yep.
right? And so just anything to make it stop. Here, I'll do whatever. And then one time my therapist said, "Why do you feel like you're equipped to deal with stuff so much more than anyone? Like, why are you willing on to take on more pain, more this, what?" Because it's just easier because I always have.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
not only that, but it's just like, well, I already have this much. What's a little bit more?
Right.
Right. And then I'm like, and I got you to the
Yeah.
therapist, right? And so, but sometimes I feel like my pain isn't as important as somebody else's, which
Girl.
isn't a great
That.
feeling. I
Yeah.
know. I'm just
Yeah.
being honest.
No, I
And when
know, but
and what I know,
but then look,
for sure. And then,
that pain goes somewhere, right? It's
well, it
energy. It's
goes
all energy,
somewhere.
and if it doesn't transmute out,
It
then what
goes somewhere. And
happens?
then if you think about it, right, it's like movable, palpable, like whatever, right? So if we're casting an energy ball out there, and that ball, let's just say, is like a lint, like a Velcro, and it's going to bring anything back
Ooh.
that sticks to it, right?
Ooh. Uh-huh.
And so you put that out there, and then you're like, oh, I can save you, I can save you, I can make you happy, I can make you, and then you bring in all of everyone else's shit. And
Wow.
then literally, I used to just fixate on like how I could help people, or how you can't tell me that that's not my body taking that on. Right. And
Right.
so now I've had to learn to detach, or like do the golden scissors with feng
Mm-hmm.
shui and learning to detach yourself. And I will say that sometimes I also have to learn to attach my head back to my body, in the sense is I've gotten very good at abandoning my body, abort mission, right?
Uh-huh.
Because
Uh-huh.
when you're being violated or you're
Oh
being
yeah.
beat or you're being whatever, you learn, to detach from your body. You learn to go someplace else.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so I think I've been ignoring my body for so long that she's now like, yo, sister,
Time for us to get some
hello,
love.
yes. And she's like, why don't you people please
Wow.
me?
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
so it's
I
a
mean,
very hard
this is
habit to
huge.
break.
This is
Yeah.
huge. I hope y'all are hearing this. This is
Hmm.
huge
Yeah.
because yeah, yeah. We all know
And
people like, and
it's listen, people pleasing is an addiction, because
yes.
I think we get off on the dopamine too. is that, oh, look, I
Oh,
helped you.
God.
Oh, look, I
Yep.
can, they
Shit.
need me. I feel needed. And oh, look, see. And
Codependence.
so I never saw
Just be that way.
narcissistic personality or other people in a situation using me. I was like, no, they need me.
Right.
They need me to be happy because they bring sunshine.
Right.
Right. And I've now learned that that's not the case
Damn.
in a
Yes.
very painful
No,
way.
this is
And I'll
huge,
tell
Dina.
you, like,
You
yeah,
just nailed it. I feel like. I mean, all
I
the
don't even
questions
remember
have
what
been
I said,
answered.
girl. Go ahead, tell me. What did I say? Because sometimes when I'm in
No,
this,
I mean, I
I
think
know.
that the act of people pleasing,
Mm-hmm.
yes, you're right. I love the analogy of the Velcro too, energetically, because if you take
Mm-hmm.
all that on, it's got to go somewhere. It is
Yeah.
energy. You're
Yeah.
absorbing it. You're telling
Mm-hmm.
people that this is okay. You're telling your body that this is okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not. And your body is
Mm-hmm.
going, no, no, it's not.
Yes.
And it's starting to, act out and,
So it's like
so
then you're telling people, wait, now I have to also be in control of my emotions and the way I think. It's like, yes,
it is a
yes, you do. You
process,
still have
but
more work to do.
damn,
It is a
yeah,
process. And I will
shit.
tell you
Oof.
it. And listen, I may make it look a little bit easier, but I'm 27 years into therapy and
Mm-hmm,
15 years into doing coaching work
mm-hmm,
and all
mm-hmm.
of that. But the fact is that I started maybe where somebody else is starting now. And I'm telling you, there is light at the end of the tunnel. And if we can help you save money, resources, frustration,
Yes,
emotional breakdowns, whatever it is, I'm saying the first thing you have to do is go in, talk to yourself, talk to your body, do some meditation, start reading some books of The Body Keeps the Score, It Didn't Start With You, What Happened to You. There's so many great books that you can do. If you don't have access to a therapist, you have access to a podcast. And I just think that I wasn't mature enough mentally and I wasn't ready to hear it. But for the first time ever, this time with the diagnosis, I now know what I'm supposed to do.
yes. I love that.
And
Thank you. Thank you to your guides and whoever is, thank you. That's
thank you.
huge. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's big
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And I was
Yeah.
going to go further, but I feel like that's so poignant. It's a good place to stop.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yay.
that is the point. That is the point.
Mm-hmm.
So we will post a ton of sources, y'all.
Yes.
Coach Dean and I will chat afterwards, and we'll post a bunch of resources. I'll take the ones you just said, and we'll
Mm-hmm.
think anything we can think of. And if anybody wants to do the challenge with us, please feel free. Just ping us with a little comment or email us at litnnguest@gmail.com. Let us know, and we can either start an email thread
Yes.
where we're all accountable, or we can do it on social media. And
And
that
what's
would be
the worst
great.
thing that can happen? You save
Yeah,
money, your skin looks good, you might release a few pounds, and you've proven to yourself that if you set out to do something, you can commit to it and you can do it.
that's
Start
right.
learning how to make a commitment to yourself, not everybody else.
Yes, yes. And that's not to say that you're not a nice person and you're not doing nice things, but you've gotta trust your instinct on this stuff. And if
Mm-hmm.
something feels like it's outside of your comfort zone, you gotta listen to that. People are
Mm-hmm.
asking you to do something and you don't really want to do it, don't do it. You
Yep.
gotta sometimes just say no. There's a lot of power in no, which I'm gonna put that book in there too, The Power of No.
Okay, good.
Um, Anyway, and y'all know that Coach Dina has the daily inspirational videos. Those are so great for just a little quick, like, and she's a little bit intuitive, y'all, so sometimes they're timely. Just saying, they're a great thing to follow every day on social media. Anything else? I think that's it.
I would like to bring up when you say I'm intuitive, can we just share a little bit of how last week you were upset because I sent a video and you thought it was for you?
Oh my God. So, yeah. I was a little bit upset with you. Yeah, because I felt called out. I felt very seen. She sends me every morning, y'all, these videos, daily inspiration videos. She'll send me the one and then I post it on the social platforms. And sometimes I'll look at it and I'll go, that bitch. She is calling me out on my shit in front of everybody. But turns out, I mean, sometimes they are for me. Sometimes they're, it's just
Yeah.
what you're getting, your feeling needs to go out into.
Uh-huh.
the universe.
And you know, it's
So
really interesting is sometimes
I'm part of
film
that.
things a few days in advance, and I don't know which one I'm sending you on which day. So after we talked, I was like, I don't even know what I said or what I did, but hold on, let me go check.
Well, other case in point, like I said, last week's video, I went back and listened to this morning, and I was like, damn, if I had really absorbed this right before a couple of conversations this week, I wouldn't have been caught so off guard. So anyway.
But see, this is part of doing the work, and this is why we're
Damn it.
joining the conversations and
Yeah.
we're growing together.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just think it's so cool. So thank you, everyone, for giving us the
Thank y'all.
space here to be able to
Absolutely.
share these conversations.
Yes, yes.
Cool.
All right. Well, thank you. We'll see you next week. And
Okay.
yeah, love you.
Ciao. Love you. Toodles.
Bye.
Join us here each week as we unpack life in the new normal with a new hashtag Subtle Change Profound Impact from Coach Dina. To get a little daily inspirational message in your social feed, follow us on YouTube Shorts, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Copyright 2020 Angel Baby Films, all rights reserved.